Angus Robbie.
That's right. The tall speaker arrives. Hi. Thanks, Nicola. Bye. So good afternoon. Each one of my family and the other speakers here on this occasion have or will talk about their personal views of my father, how their perceptions shaped their experience, and of course, I'm no different. I have no profound and meaningful tidbit of his musings to share, no magical prose celebrating his many architectural awards, honorary doctorate, or his proudest moment, receiving the Order of Canada. No. Perhaps I should have said not profound and meaningful to you. These thoughts on paper, however, which I'm holding here, are things that will forever be in my mind and heart. My early experiences of him were shaped by his absence as much by his presence. This fact is indelibly imprinted by one of my earliest memories. I was 3. I recall standing on a chair to peer out the second-floor window of our home, watching him leave for work one early cold morning. Our neighbors jokingly referred to him as Rocket Rod. And he did his nickname proud that day, with great steaming clouds of vapor pouring from the exhaust of his rusting Detroit iron as he floored the gas. The thing that always sticks in my mind from this vivid memory is him leaving. And, of course, that I thought the car was in fact powered by rockets. Weekends were to be cherished as opportunities to do things with Dad, even if those things often turned out to be small home renovation projects where I was used as very willing, if nonetheless captive labor. My eldest sister Karen was one of Dad's first, in quote, helpers, and there is a remarkable cedar box and painted ceiling in our house to show for their effort. During those projects, he always took the opportunity to show me how you plan to do work. If you're going to, say, build a storage rack for paintings or a house for a huge stray cat who lived on our back porch. What I did not realize at the time was that he never did anything without a plan, be it building the Sky Dome or buying shoes. Later in life, these would become his ubiquitous lists, often scribbled on the reams of folded paper he invariably carried in the inside pocket of his suit jacket, along with altogether too many pens. In fact, the sheer volume of stuff he carried every day in his suit always made him look a little lumpy in my eyes. But why carry so many things? Dad liked to be prepared. An example of this is that Kleenex was a staple of his persona. I know that sounds ridiculous to those who are not in his family, but one of the notable inside jokes in our clan is that if you needed a Kleenex, you asked Dad. He always had a wad of them in his pocket, even on the beach. Anyway, I digress. Digress, whatever. The basic point of this rambling speech is that Dad was many different things to many different people. Architect, activist, philosopher, artist, mentor, partner, competitor, nemesis, neighbor, husband, friend, father. For me, I just wish I could still call him to tell him about how my day went and what the kids did at school. The simple things, that's what I'll miss most of all. To conclude, I have 2 short notes sent by people who could not be here, but wanted to share their thoughts on Dad. Rod Robbie will always be remembered for creating what some at the time called the 8th wonder of the world, the world's fully first retractable roofed dome stadium. So a baseball quote is appropriate today. It was the great Jackie Robinson who said, "A life isn't significant except for its impact on other lives." I think it's fair to say that Rod Robbie had a significant life. He will forever be known for the Canadian Pavilion at Expo 67 and Rogers Centre, or as it was originally known, Sky Dome. Being able to move from Exhibition Stadium to Sky Dome in 1989 made Toronto the envy of Major League Baseball, and like the Canadian Pavilion, became a proud symbol of Canada around the world. His vision and determination has and will continue to have an impact on other lives, not just in Toronto, but across an entire country. It's from Paul Beeston, President and CEO of Toronto Blue Jays and the Rogers Centre. I first met him in 1968 when I was working in the Davenport riding for the election of Charles Cascio. Your mom and dad were close with Colin and Nettie Vaughn, and they were a formidable foursome, irreverent, funny, and very dedicated to knocking on doors and arguing late into the night on all sorts of subjects, some of which would now be labeled politically inappropriate. Fast forward some years, and I'm now the leader of the opposition in Ontario, and the distinguished architect, Mr. Robbie, contacts me to make sure I understood his thinking behind the Sky Dome. He was rightly proud of it and wanted to make sure my political disagreements with the government would not stop the roof from opening and closing. In recent years, he's been a frequent emailer, engaging me on the state of the city, province, and country, always with that breezy and completely engaging way that was his hallmark. Like all of us, his life was marked by setbacks as well as triumphs. He went through it all with great gusto and determination. He was a visionary who got to see his dreams realized. He will long be remembered for what he imagined and what he built, and he will be remembered for his gift of friendship as well. Bob Rae, Leader of the Liberal Party of Canada. So I thank you for coming, and now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, a longtime family friend, Toronto City Councillor Adam Vaughan.